गणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशाय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Anybody would like to sing a prayer today? Mataji, you want to try?
I can try, Prabhuji. Or, sorry, somebody else is going?
No, Meenu Mataji, go ahead.
Shreya Mataji, please do. Please
No,
do.
you go ahead because I'm not that confident for this.
Me neither. So I'm just going to give it a shot. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Nijapati bhujadanda chhatrabhavam prapatya pratihata mada drishtadanda devantra karva अतुल प्रथुल शैला श्रेणी भूपा प्रियम में निज निकट निवासम देहि गोवर्धनम त्वम प्रमाद मदन लीला कंदार ते रचयति नवयुन्योर्दण्डवम् अस्मिन् अमन्दम् इति किलिकालान्त अर्थम लग्नाकस्तद्वयोर्मे निज निकट निवासम देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् अनुपम मणिवेदी रत्नसिंहोत्सनानोर्वी रुहजरधर शानु द्रोणी संघेषु रंगे सह बल सखीभिः संकेलयन् स्वप्रियं मे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् रसनिधि नवयुनो साक्षिणीं दानकेलिर् द्युतिपरिमलविद्धं श्यामवेदीं प्रकर्ष्य रसिकवरकुलानां मोदमस्फल्यन्मे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनं त्वम् हरिदायितम् अपूर्वं राधिका कुन्दमात्मा प्रियसखम् इह कण्ठे निर्मङ्गलिङ्गय गुप्त नवयुवयुगखेलास्तत्र पाश्यन् रहो मे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् स्थल जल तल शास्त्रेर्बुरुः छायाय च प्रतिपदम् अनुकालं हन्त संवर्धर्यायन्कः त्रिजगति निज गोत्रं सार्थकं खयामि निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् सुरपति कृत दीर्घ द्रोहतो घोष्ठ राक्षसं तव नवग्रह रूपस्यन्तरे कुर्तैव अघपकरि रिपु नोचर दातमान द्रुतं मे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् गिरिनृप हरिदासा श्रेणिवर्येति नाम मृतम् इदम् उदितं श्रीराधिका वक्त्रचन्द्रात् व्रजनवतिलक तव अत्वै कल्पतवेदि स्फुतं मे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् निज जनयुत राधा कृष्ण मैत्री रासक्ता व्रजनार पाशु पक्षी व्रत सुखयाक्य दाता अगणित करुणात्वान् मम यूरि कृत्यतान्तं निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् निरुपदि करुणेन श्री सच्चिनंदनेन त्वयि कपति साथोऽपि प्रियान् अर्पितोऽस्मि इति खलु माम योगयातां माम् आग्रान् निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम्
रासाददासक्त्रम् अस्य श्रीलघुवर्धनस्य क्षितिधरकुलभार्तुर्यः प्रायत्नाद् अधीते सा सपदि सुखाढ्ये अस्मिन् वासमासाद्य साक्षक चोभारयुगलसेवा रत्नमाप्नोति तूर्णम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Govardhan Dashkam ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry for all the mistakes.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Wonderful. Thank you so much for trying. And this is how we all start, right? So everybody, there is always a start. The best way to do it is
I
start. At
do
least.
want to acknowledge you for
Mm.
encouraging us and guiding us. You know, I can only attempt this because I've been listening to you all week for this. So thank you very much for inspiring and encouraging. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
It's all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Yeah, this is like our way. And Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights. So why can't we sing a prayer for 7 days and 7 nights, right? So yeah, we just sing, and then as we sing, we get better. At least, I'm so happy. It was very nice, but I'm saying even if we remember one line, just like, there's no, at the end of our lives, if we remember just one name of the Lord, Hari, Krishna, Ram, whatever it is, when you chant, the whole life is a preparation. There's no need to remember all the Vedas or the Upanishads, all the treasure of our Vedic scriptures. If we don't remember the Lord, if we just remember the name of the Lord, at the end, that is perfection of life, right? So like that, even if we don't remember the whole prayer, at least if we remember the last line, Nija Nikati Nivasam, Dehi Govardhanatam, that's it. So Govardhan itself is saying, okay, what do you want? Tell me. And if you just remember that one line, that's enough. Okay, so thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Mataji ki jai. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes, Kishore Yadav Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O Govardhan, O king of all incomparable great mountains, O hill that became an umbrella with the arm of your own Lord as the handle, and then destroyed the pride of the Deva king, madly attacking with raised weapons. Please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhan, please grant to me the residence near you that will guarantee the sight of the youthful divine couple as they enjoy passionate, amorous pastimes in your caves. O Govardhan, O hill where Lord Krishna happily plays with Balaram and his friends in the incomparable jeweled courtyards, jeweled lion thrones, trees, waterfalls, mountain brooks, caves, peaks, and valleys. Please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhan, O hill that provides the dark courtyard that witnesses the Danakeli pastime of the nectar treasure youthful divine couple. O hill that brings great bliss to the best of they who relish transcendental nectar. Please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhan, O hill that, hiding as you playfully embrace the neck of your dear friend, Lord Hari's dear, unprecedented Radha Kunda, secretly gazes at the pastimes of the youthful divine couple. Please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhan, O hill that by nourishing the cows with its water, grass, and the shade of its trees, declares to the three worlds the appropriateness of its own name. Please grant to me residence near you. Govardhana means that which nourishes, Vardhana, the cows. O Govardhan, O hill that the enemy of Aga and Baka honored by transforming into a new house to give Raj protection from the sustained fury of the Sura king. Please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhan, O king of mountains, O hill whose nectar name the best of Lord Hari's servants flows from the moon of Sri Radha's mouth. O hill that the Vedas declare to be the Tilaka marking of Raj, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhan, O philanthropist that gives transcendental happiness to Raj's people, animals, and birds, all anointed with the nectar of friendship for Sri Sri Radha Krishna, surrounded by their friends. Out of your immeasurable mercy, please accept unhappy me and please grant me residence near you. Although I am a cheater and a criminal, unlimitedly merciful Lord Sachidananda, who is very dear to you, has given me to you. O Govardhan, please do not consider whether I am acceptable or not, but simply grant me residence near you. One who carefully reads these 10 nectar verses describing Srila Govardhana, the king of mountains, will very soon reside near that blissful hill and quickly attain the precious jewel of the service to the handsome divine couple. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Kishore Radha Mataji. Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's continue with Prabhupada Lilamrit. We are on chapter 47. Prabhupada is literally was doing Govardhan Parikrama yesterday, right, along with his disciple Govardhan. But yeah, we saw yesterday he went from Detroit to Toronto, Canada, and then he had to cut short his rest of the US trip, and he's planning to go to India because of the meeting with Indira Gandhi has come up. And Prabhupada wants to use every opportunity to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. But again, we saw in the Detroit and the Canada places, again, the quality of his disciples, how surrendered they were. You see, Amrish Prabhu, he was the great grandson of Henry Ford, and coming from such a multi-millionaire, billionaire family, yet you see his humility. He brings the limousine, he drives himself as a chauffeur, menial chauffeur, opens the doors of Prabhupada, closes it, and then drives the vehicle himself, right? So it reminds us of the humility of Maharaj Prataprudra, the king of Orissa, how when he cleans the way before Jagannath Rath Yatra. So like that, so we have a lot to learn from all these exalted disciples of Srila Prabhupada, how they surrendered their lives, and we think we are doing X, Y, Z, but that pride may sometimes creep in. But here we see a person who is how humble he is, how tolerant he is, and also while doing that service, you should not be boastful or prideful again, right? So that reminds that prayer that Narsingh Mehta very nicely wrote, that Vaishnava Janata Teri Kahiye Peed Parai Jane Re, Par Dukhe Upakar Kare Toi, Par Abhiman Na Aaye Re, right? So like even though Vaishnava is Paradukha Dukhi, and still at the end of the day, the quality of humility is what will help us remember the Lord's holy name, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So only way we'll be able to do Sada Hari's Kirtan is if we have no desire for pride, and we give all respect to others. No desire for respect, but give all respect to others. So that humility we see in these disciples of like Amrish Prabhu. Okay, let's continue. So from here. While touring his movement in the West, Srila Prabhupada had felt satisfied that it was growing stronger. Opposition was also growing, but he took that as another sign of ISKCON's authenticity. His original plan was still intact, and on this tour he had been pursuing it. America had a chance of becoming Krishna conscious. At least he and his disciples should try for that. If they succeeded, then the whole world could be uplifted by that transcendental influence. Prabhupada liked preaching in America. Mostly my students are American, he had said, and they helped me very kindly push on this movement. But one man in the San Diego crowd had shouted back that he wanted more sex than was allowed in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada's estimation was that Americans had good hearts, but that for want of Krishna consciousness, they were becoming completely confused, frustrated, and degraded. Srila Prabhupada had come first to America in 1965 to plant the seed of Krishna consciousness. That he had done. Now, with dozens of centers across the country and many others around the world, he was realizing that his ambitions were not going unfulfilled. He also accepted that to make Krishna consciousness the dominant force in America and the world was something he might not see in his lifetime. It is not one man's work, he had said, and he asked everyone, Americans, Indians, and all world citizens, to take part in distributing Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Only a rare few came forward to help him, however, and he worked with them. Touring, therefore, was but another attempt at making his organization as strong as possible while it was within his power to do so. Actually, he was living for others, and he didn't think he would live much longer. He wanted to continue touring, building ISKCON, saving as many lost souls as possible, and he wanted to impress upon his sincere followers and upon others who would read his books that every human being should take up the same work and live for the benefit of others by distributing Krishna consciousness. Hari Bol. Okay, chapter 48. At home in India. There were, of course, other reasons for Prabhupada's returning to India besides meeting Indira Gandhi. His regular rhythm had become to alternate touring the West with staying in India. He was leading this movement by traveling from center to center. But for at least 5 years now, he had devoted more of his time to India. His ambitious projects in Mayapur and Vrindavan, although increasing the prestige of the Krishna consciousness movement, were by no means completed, and Hare Krishna land in Bombay was still only a construction site. Unlike in America and Europe, where Srila Prabhupada achieved his objectives by inspiring disciples to carry on the management, in India, he was the manager. He had to be, otherwise, his Western disciples would be cheated and become dispirited. Pressing managerial decisions, therefore, brought him frequently to India. Moreover, he had a special inclination to be in India. He had a deep spiritual attraction to the holy dhams. Vrindavan was his home, and Mayapur was his place of worship. And he liked the unique opportunities for meeting and influencing people in places like Bombay. His upcoming meeting with India's chief executive was the kind of opportunity that came rarely in the West. And in addition to all these reasons, Prabhupada also felt most relaxed and at home there. When breaking some of his commitments to visit more cities in the US, he had written to a disciple, I was not able to come to Atlanta because I was called here to India on urgent business. Also, I was feeling inconvenienced by so much traveling. Prabhupada often referred to New York, London, and LA as his special homes, and to America as his fatherland. And when a disciple had once remarked that Prabhupada would feel more at home in India, he had replied, My only home is the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Jai. Nevertheless, for whatever reason or combination of reasons, Srila Prabhupada was showing a definite presence for staying in India. Prabhupada was displeased to see how slowly the construction was progressing at Hare Krishna land in Bombay. The monsoons had flooded the foundation, and what little work had been done appeared to be of poor quality. The whole project should have been finished in 6 months, Prabhupada said, but he startled the devotees by saying, At least complete it within my lifetime. Surabhi and Murthy showed him drawings for other temples. An interested person in Nellore near Hyderabad was speaking of donating land, and the devotees had drawn up plans for a temple complex complete with library and dormitories. Prabhupada approved the plans. The temple buildings, he said, should be traditional according to the Shastric directions, but the other buildings could incorporate more modern designs. He also studied and approved plans for temples in Hyderabad and Fiji. Early the next morning, Srila Prabhupada called for Surabhi and Murthy and again went over their various plans with detailed interest. He had little time left before his meeting with the Prime Minister, however, and the next day he left for Delhi, New Delhi, August 22nd, 1975. At 9:15 in the morning, Srila Prabhupada and several of his leading disciples arrived at the Prime Minister's home, where they were confronted by a formidable security check. 2 days before, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh had been assassinated, and Mrs. Gandhi was rumored to be next. Armed soldiers therefore surrounded her residence. The guards at the outer gate decided that the foreigners could not go in. Srila Prabhupada alone could enter. While one guard opened the gate, another ushered Srila Prabhupada into a car which carried him to the Prime Minister's front door. Meanwhile, the devotees waited in anxiety by the outer gate. Always some disciples would accompany Prabhupada wherever he went. His disciples worried, almost like doting parents, that he might need their assistance. In tiny, cramped handwriting, Srila Prabhupada had noted down in a small address book a list of points he wanted to discuss with Mrs. Gandhi. Number 1, grant immigration for 500 foreigners. Number 2, all MPs initiated Brahmanas. 3, Sanjaya the king. 4, close slaughterhouses. 5, chanting. 6, meat eaters at home, no public meat eating. 7, prostitution punishable. 8, no religious group except Bhagavad Gita as it is. 9, all government officers must join Kirtan at least twice a day. 10, support Krishna consciousness all over the world. The most pressing item was at the head of the list. Mrs. Gandhi should grant permanent visas to Prabhupada's Western disciples in India. Just a few weeks before, some of the foreign devotees in Mayapur had been asked to leave the country. For years, Prabhupada had been asking for permanent visas whenever he met governors, members of parliament, or other men of influence. Devotees were constantly being asked to leave the country to renew their 6-month visas. The travel costs incurred and the disruption of the devotees' services seriously hampered ISKCON's work in India. Therefore, Prabhupada wanted Indira Gandhi to sanction up to 500 foreign disciples to stay permanently in India. The other points on Srila Prabhupada's list were scriptural directions for how the Prime Minister could make her leadership Krishna conscious in the spirit of the great Raja Rishis of the Vedic age. These were the same tenets of God conscious leadership he preached wherever he went, and he had deep conviction that if the world's leaders would apply them, an era of peace, prosperity, and happiness would dawn. Indira Gandhi had a tendency toward authoritative control, so she should exercise it in terms of Vedic directions. Then her rule could become most effective and beneficial. A government official opened the door to Srila Prabhupada's car, ushered him into the house, and brought him before the Prime Minister. As Prabhupada entered the room, Mrs. Gandhi stood up. Although she greeted him cordially and offered him a seat, he could immediately detect that she was distracted, fearful for her life. She openly admitted it and added that this was not therefore a good time for their meeting. Prabhupada felt that she would have preferred not to meet at all, but was allowing it only because she had promised. Her agreeing to see him, he felt, was an indication that she had some attraction for spiritual life. But he understood that on this visit at least, he could not introduce the extensive advice he had been contemplating. Mrs. Gandhi complimented Srila Prabhupada on the work he was doing all over the world. They are good boys, he replied, and he asked if she could arrange for permanent visas. She agreed, but again mentioned her present anxiety. They soon ended their talk and Srila Prabhupada left. A few days later, while still in New Delhi, Srila Prabhupada received a letter from Rameshwar. The BBT in Los Angeles was miraculously fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's order to publish 17 volumes in 2 months. The composers, editors, artists, and workers had ecstatically finished their marathon on schedule. When the first books had come back from the printers and had been offered on the altar of Rukmini Dwarkadhish, the devotees had cried in transcendental bliss, chanting again and again the mantras to Srila Prabhupada. They were feeling the potency of the order of their spiritual master and seeing themselves as instruments in carrying out what had once seemed an impossible request. Today, our composer finished the last volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. By Wednesday next week, August 20th, all volumes will be at the printer. Now they are just starting to compose the 5th canto, and the entire canto will definitely be at the printer by Vyasa Puja Day. After promising delivery of books by October at the latest, the letter was signed by about 60 devotees, your unworthy servants at ISKCON Press. On their behalf, Rameshwar stated, "We have lost all desire to do anything except be engaged in producing and distributing your transcendental books by the millions in every town and village." Srila Prabhupada wrote back the next day from Delhi, "Regarding your desire for all 12 cantos, you will get it, rest assured. Your so much ardent desire will be fulfilled by Krishna." On August 21, Rameshwar sent Srila Prabhupada a telegram. By the mercy of Lord Balaram Nityananda, the last volume of Chaitanya Charitamrita is leaving today for the printer. By your mercy and divine order, it is done. Although Srila Prabhupada travelled on to Vrindavan, the devotees were able to dispatch advance copies of all 15 volumes to him by his 80th birthday on August 31st. Just after Prabhupada observed the ceremony in the temple, a devotee arrived in Vrindavan with the final 6 volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. With great relish and satisfaction, Srila Prabhupada examined the books. He was pleased with the artwork and quickly became absorbed in reading the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He felt so inspired, he remarked to the devotees in Vrindavan that he was thinking of stopping all touring and just staying in Vrindavan and translating. The reciprocation of the devotees at ISKCON Press was so sincere that it increased Srila Prabhupada's desire to reciprocate with them. He wrote to my dear Rameshwar and company. You have taken seriously the publishing and also the distribution of these books, and that is the success of our mission. You have taken seriously this work, and I know that my Guru Maharaj is pleased with you because he wanted this. So, by this endeavor, you will all go back home, back to Godhead. Jai. Although Srila Prabhupada had mentioned that he would like to sit in Vrindavan and simply translate Srimad Bhagavatam, his stay there was characterized by intensive management, not by writing. He had presided over the grand opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir 4 months earlier, and now he would demonstrate how the temple should be run. The Krishna Balaram Mandir was a Vedic temple complex at a famous holy place, and it was being scrutinized by persons already strongly opinionated on how a temple should be run. Immediately, Prabhupada found discrepancies. In the guest house, which was for the guests, not disciples, he found married disciples living with their children. This was not proper, he said, and these families would have to find other quarters nearby or leave Vrindavan. He also found problems with the plumbing, the municipal sewage system, the financial management, the deity worship, the cleanliness, and the devotees' behavior. Almost every area of temple life and every devotee required special attention. In the smallest discrepancies, Prabhupada would sometimes see the essence of all problems, and he would instantly point it out. And because his disciples took his words with utmost seriousness, as coming directly from Krishna, his reprimands were often devastating. Prabhupada was a difficult taskmaster. A Vaishnava is said to be as soft as a rose and as hard as a thunderbolt. But Prabhupada began showing more the thunderbolt side of his personality. Sometimes a neophyte's conception of the spiritual master is that he must always be peaceful and pleased with everything that happens, and this is a sign of his being situated in transcendental consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, however, demonstrated many moods, including anger. In its material form, anger, krodha, is described in Bhagavad Gita as occurring when one's lust cannot be fully satisfied. A true sadhu, therefore, because he does not have lusty desires, does not become possessed by anger. The Vaishnava poet Narottam Das Thakur, however, declares that anger may also be used in serving Krishna. Narottam Das gives the example of Hanuman, the eternal servant of Lord Ram, who displayed his great anger in fighting against Ravana and the other demoniac enemies of the Lord. Rupa Goswami also wrote in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that a devotee should not tolerate blasphemy to Krishna or to the Vaishnavas, and that his response might justifiably be transcendental anger. Even Lord Krishna incited the anger of non-violent Arjuna, including him to fight, and that fighting was transcendental, whereas Arjuna's reluctance to fight was material. Okay, let's pause here. Hare Krishna. Yes, so wonderful. So, yeah, we see Prabhupada again sharing how everything that he is doing, everything that he's able to do, how in a humble mood, again, he's offering everything as service to his Guru Maharaj, that this is all because of the mercy of his Guru Maharaj. And he's telling that to his disciples. So just like we were saying at the center, it was the grandfather is more merciful, right? So Prabhupada is telling them again, like showing them practically that yes, grandfather is more merciful. And he has promised that because of this service, one service that you're doing so sincerely, you will all go back home, back to Godhead. So, so many of Prabhupada's disciples, our current Guru Varga, they say the same thing in different ways, but they say, yeah, whatever service we do, just give it our full, give it everything. And anything that we do in the service of the Lord and his pure devotees, ultimately, there will always be victory. No matter how many troubles, apparently so-called troubles we may face, Prabhupada also here we see practically so much of troubles he's facing, sometimes at his bodily level, sometimes mental level, sometimes with all the things going on around the world and around him, and sometimes even his disciples, like we see here, when he leaves, they're not able to make progress, so it's causing him spiritual anxiety. But ultimately, and at the end, is always victory, because whatever we do for Lord and his pure devotees, it can never end in failure. So there will always be tests and tribulations along the way, but in the end, victory is guaranteed. That is something that Prabhupada is saying here, and we have heard from many of his disciples in many, many different lectures and different places. They have mentioned the same thing, that ultimately, it will result in victory. That is going back home, back to Godhead, and serving the Lord and his divine associates eternally. So that is the mood of a pure Bhagavad of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, sometimes it's showing his transcendental anger, like he's saying chastisement is necessary, and that is the way, that is the form of purification for all his disciples. So yeah, Prabhupada is as a sincere and a pure spiritual master. He's reprimanding them, he's chastising them. And because of that chastisement is what we see what they became in the next 50 years, 60 years, and where they have taken this movement, right? Because they still lovingly remember those chastisements. Many of the Guru Maharajas, they remembered the chastisements that Prabhupada gave them. And yeah, when we read these books, we see, that, again, majority of them stayed with Srila Prabhupada and stayed with his instructions after he left and continued to serve, right? Even though they were heavily criticized, heavily chastised by Srila Prabhupada. It's like public humility in front of others when they're being humiliated for not doing their services. Still, they took that as their purification and they stuck with Srila Prabhupada, stuck with his instructions, and that is why they have become what they have become today. So that should be our mood also. We should try to imbibe that mood and that quality, learning from these acharyas. Okay, Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to share anything? I was remembering recently we were reading one other book by Prabhupada's conversations with his disciples.
Hare
And
Krishna Prabhuji.
yes, Mataji, sorry.
So Prabhuji, Prabhupada sent that some list of that list to the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and try to convince the Prime Minister to that the work out on that list. Can you show me that another time that list? The 4 or
Yeah, those
5.
10 points that we were looking
Yeah,
at.
10 points. Yes.
Yeah, the first one was to grant visas for his disciples,
Mhm.
500 gold fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Wanted all the MPs to become initiated Brahmanas.
Yes.
Like that's what Raja Rishis are, and the rulers are turned into that. So, the king.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and we see Prabhupada met so many of the influential leaders in India, even before he went to America. Like, he used to write letters to the president. He met so many governors, and yeah, he wanted, like, with the same mood that he wanted these rulers of the government to be Rajarishis. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. At least in India, we have good now. I mean, even in America, of course, we have met, like, I think Radhanath Maharaj had met President Obama back in the days. Of course, he comes from Chicago, and they both come from Chicago. So, but in India, we, of course, most of the prime ministers have come and they've inaugurated. Modi, especially Atal Bihari Vajpayee, inaugurated our Delhi temple, which is also on the hill of Govardhan. The Shri Shri Radha Parthasarathi temple was inaugurated by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Narendra Modi installed the heaviest and the largest Bhagavad Gita, the world's biggest Bhagavad Gita, also at the Shri Shri Radha Parthasarathi temple in 2019. He was very close to our ISKCON devotees and to our Guru Maharaj also. And many other important leaders have helped. So that is all, again, what, like, we see, these disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they took all that inspiration, all of that, same mood that Srila Prabhupada had, and they carried that same mood in their lives as they built this movement further and further, bigger and bigger and stronger. So
yeah, it's a good initiative by Prabhupada to develop the Krishna consciousness in not only in the America but also in India. So it's a good initiative. The 10 points is very valuable.
yes. think everybody should do kirtan twice a day. That's so nice. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else would like to say anything? Hare Krishna. Okay. All right. Then we'll pause for today. Thank you so much for your kind association. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrind ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. कार्तिक मास महामहोत्सव की जय नीताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Have a blissfully blessed day. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.